Like this, I think this is the clip that was sent to me. Oh yeah, this is trippy. So Asmongold reacted to a little segment of my review. But you can see this. I'm assuming this is in the Starfield subreddit. This guy took one of our TikToks and said, this game reviewer says playing Starfield is like being stuck in a fishbowl. When you're on a landing zone, you're in a fishbowl. I mean, that's what I would say. But let's see.
Game reviewer says playing Starfield is like being stuck in a fishbowl. Okay.
For everyone that thought that Todd's promise of 1,000 planets to freely explore sounded too good to be true, you were painfully right to be skeptical. When you land on a planet, you don't actually get to explore it freely. A few points of interest are put on the map, but if you run too far off course, sometimes only a kilometer away from a point of interest, you'll be treated to an invisible wall telling you to return to your ship. The game doesn't actually give you planets to explore, as was promised by Todd Howard and Pete Hines in the lead up to the game's launch. It generates a small map each time you land that's built off of a seed from the given planet that you're landing on. Notice how I don't say it's randomly generated, because it's not randomly generated, it is procedurally generated. So if you select a part on the coast, it will drop you on a coast. If you select a spot in the snowy mountainous area, it'll give you a snowy mountain. It's not random, it's procedural, but it's still a fishbowl. Like, you still can't actually freely explore. And they've described it. And the whole lead up to the game, every time they said, we want to give you planets to explore, freely explore. And it's like, this is not, this is not that free, you know, not that free. And where on that planet you've selected to land, whether it's a pre-assigned landing location with a point of interest on it, or a random location that you choose. Simply put, it's an illusion of scale and freedom. Though, to be fair, some people won't consider this a big deal, but like I said, it grows all the more frustrating when you go out into the great unknown, trying to explore like previous Bethesda games, only to be greeted with invisible walls reminding you that you're in a glorified fishbowl and not actually exploring a planet.
Isn't there there's got to be a wall somewhere in Skyrim, right? I don't know. I don't think I don't think that's a big deal. I'm not.
I think if it was a bigger fishbowl, it would be less of a big deal. But I mean, again, we also are talking about games a decade apart, right? Like, things have changed since Skyrim came out, and I think people are expecting for it to be competitive in the modern space. And when you tell people that you're going to be doing stuff very, very similar to, say, No Man's Sky, Star Citizen, Elite Dangerous, that's kind of what you're doing, you shouldn't be surprised when people compare it. You know, shouldn't be surprised at all. But my biggest, thing is just, I think that the fish bowls are too small. You know, if you gave me a huge fish bowl, I probably couldn't complain that much. But in the course of regular gameplay, I would run into these things a lot, and it was very clear that these weren't big swaths of the planet to explore. It was tiny fish bowls, basically.
Like, why the fuck? Like, look at what he's doing. Where are you going?
But if you run too far
like, there's nothing here anywhere. I don't think the problem is that people should think it's a big deal because the world should be more meaningful, that you should want to explore the entire planet.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, if they're giving you a planet to explore, you expect to be able to explore the planet. Like, I don't think that's a scandalous thing to say. So if that's what he's saying, I would agree.
But the problem is that the world that you zone into has
this is meta right now. This is super sketchy. This is breaking my brain.
5 points of interest, and that's it. You go into cave number 12, and there's 3 things of iron, 1 uranium, and then, thank God, and then you go to another fucking point of interest. It's another laboratory with a deep cave. Wait, this is the same cave layout as before. There's a pathway and an open area, and the pathway after that, and then 2 different pathways, and then another open area. It's the exact fucking thing. I went through that cave 3 goddamn times. It's like I felt like I was playing classic WoW again. What the fuck is this? So the problem really is not that you can't explore the entire planet. The problem is that you're a fucking idiot if you want to. That's
the problem is that you're a fucking idiot if you want to explore the whole planet. That's freaking hilarious. That's pretty funny. Yeah, I mean, it's just, this is why, even if you think that like the nitpicking over the the fish bowls, even if you think that that's not fair, which I can understand. Like you're like, hey, I'm going to go to points of interest. I'm going to fly away. I don't care that much. I can appreciate that. I can respect that. But even with that, you have to admit that the recycled points of interest is a problem. Like that is a real problem, because in the course of, like, again, I was keeping track of it on a spreadsheet. In the course of just the 20 hours of gameplay that I was doing that, I ran into a lot of these places like 4, 5, 6, 7 times. It like repeatedly, different planets, exact same layout, exact same enemy placement, same loot, same NPCs sprawled on the couch in a certain way. I ran into it multiple times, enough that I felt like I was going crazy. I was like, did I already explore this planet? Nope. I just ran into the same POI generated again. Because, like he said, they have 10 caves to draw from, and they'll randomly select one of those and place that as a point of interest. And then they have 5 outposts, and the outposts each have a 2%, or not 2%, like a 20% drop rate. And so depending on which one is selected randomly, that gets placed there. And that's how the game works. But there's such a small pool of points of interest that you run into them constantly. And some people will be able to tune that out. But if you're hoping for a Bethesda style exploration experience where you're going and you're excited to look in every corner of the map and try to discover interesting things and environmental storytelling, you're going to be disappointed, because it's just not that way. And it's why I thought it was so strange that BGS was like, they chose to go with a game that was so procedural, because like Bethesda is known for doing the opposite. Like they're known for being really good at the hand placed stuff. And so to see them go into procedural stuff for their world design in this game was really strange. And we thought maybe they cracked the code. Maybe they figured out how to maintain that Bethesda quality of hand placed environmental storytelling, but in a procedural setting. That could be amazing. And it's very clear that they just didn't. They just did a really basic procedural system compared to what a lot of other games and studios have done. And it just doesn't really hold a candle to what those other things are able to do. So for a lot of people that are like really into Bethesda games and maybe have not played those other space sim titles, this seems really groundbreaking. But to that, I would just encourage you to go and try those other space sims. If you like this and this seems really cool to you, what games like Star Citizen or No Man's Sky are doing right now will blow your freaking mind. I'll tell you what. It will blow your freaking mind apart.
The problem is because there's no reason to go around and explore in Starfield. It's all the same shit. Like, I don't know. Oh, no, it gets better. There's some, no, there was some planets that was good. Oh, yeah, I went to like 15, 20 planets, and every single one was the exact fucking same. It had the same monsters. It had the same fucking areas. It had the same loot. It had the same combat. It had the same gameplay. And it was fucking boring. It was. Oh, the map in Starfield.
Yeah, this is like... This is on the same level as some of these horrible maps from days of old. What was it? The original Dead Space? Did that have the terrible map? Which one am I thinking? I think it was that one. We played that before the remake came out. Like, there are some games that just have horrible maps where you're like, what am I even looking at? Like, what does this tell me? And Starfield's surface map is horrible. I've seen nobody defend this, not even the hardest core fanboys. It is laughably terrible. You can't even tell really what's going on. I don't know why they didn't just project it down. Like, actually show me the rocks and the trees and stuff. Just do a top-down, quick render of what's been generated, and then sprawl it out over this topographical map. I'm sure there's going to be a mod for that. Like, it is horrible. I don't know who greenlit this.
Sure what happened with the map is that they actually had the AI for the different soldiers and pirates in the game design the map, because that's the
only that would make more sense than that a qualified game developer with experience designed this. That would make a lot more sense. I'll give him that.
Way it makes sense to me that it could be that fucking stupid. I can't even believe it. It's just bland. It's just bland. I don't know. I just think it sucks. I'm going to try and play this game off stream. And I'm going to see if maybe I can get more immersed and more invested whenever I play it off stream and I have a different experience. Because I want to like the game. I really do. I really want to like the game. But fuck, it's hard.
That's just, man. That's just, I totally know where he's coming from. I mean, it's just, it's a procedural game from a team that doesn't do procedural stuff, and you can tell. Like, it's just a cool attempt, but it doesn't come together as well as I think it did. Yeah, that map, I would love to know what their explanation for that map is. I've never heard somebody defend it. Like, it is clearly terrible. You can't tell anything from that map. So maybe they chose to do it that way specifically because they wanted to, like, even that, I don't know. The map, I just don't understand. I don't understand it. Real quick, also, thank you, Pig Roast, for the 2. I also just realized what your profile picture is. That is freaking hilarious. That is awesome. Another DSP aficionado in the chat. That's funny. Did you see he spent $1,900 on WWE or $1,600 on WWE Champions recently? Dude's in a spiral.
Hey Luke, thank you for setting my expectations for Starfield. I believe your review for Starfield was a bit too negative in the end. But I get that it was to bunker bust the insane hype for the game.
Yeah, I think that was part of it. First, I mean, again, thank you for the 10. That's ridiculously generous. So thank you for that. Secondly, I do think it came off pretty negative, but I think it's because, like, it's really easy to just assert that gunplay felt pretty good. It felt pretty good. Like, I can show you gameplay footage of the gunplay and be like, and look at this sequence where I shot and the bullets land perfectly and the sound effects for the bullet hits were super satisfying. Like, there's all that where I think that, like, I could do that, but I think people here, the gunplay feels much better than it looked like initially. I think the gunplay is actually pretty solid. I can say something like that, and that takes a sentence. The gunplay in Starfield is actually way better than we saw in early trailers, and it actually feels really good. I can just say that. I can assert that. But if I say anything negative, I have to back it up. I have to defend it, and I have to show it with, like, actual gameplay footage of this character floating into the sky and outside of the spaceship breaking the quest. And that takes time, you know, of me showing it, explaining what it is, and justifying that. And I think a lot of people mistook me taking the time to try and prove my points as me fixating on the negative. I totally understand why they felt that way. But it was an intentional thing of me trying not to just say stuff, but actually back up why I think that from the gameplay. And whether I struck a good balance or not is always up to the audience to decide. We try our best. Sometimes I'm more successful than other times. And if you feel that I leaned too much into the negative explanations than the positive counterbalance, I totally understand that. But, you know, it is a balance to be struck, I think. When you say it's buggy, the details matter a lot. There's a big difference between minor funny bugs and NPCs floating out of the area and making quests impossible. Exactly. Eladelia. I got it. That's certainly important. Like, if I say the game's still buggy, you might be thinking funny Bethesda bug, like the ones I showed of, like, the character glitching out and shaking erratically. But I mean, like, yeah, those are there. But also, there are some serious bugs that maybe they'll fix within a week or two, but there are some serious bugs here too. And that's why I took the time to actually show them instead of just saying, yeah, it's buggy, and showing a couple little snippets. But again, I think for some people that just seems like I'm trying to revel in the negativity, and that's not necessarily the case. It's just me trying to demonstrate my points, which even people that really like Starfield, I would hope appreciate. Because I'm not just asserting stuff and just saying the gameplay in Starfield's boring and then leaving it at that. I'm like asserting what I think, and then I try to back it up with evidence that justifies it. Whether you think it justifies it, yeah. Whether you think it justifies it or not, I think it's just up to you. I really didn't think you'd get backlash for your review. I don't even know if I did. Like, the fanboys, of course, weren't happy about it. But I think in general, the reception's been really positive. We've seen a huge number of people subscribe to the channel for the first time. Like, that Starfield review, when all is said and done, is going to probably garner about 10,000 new subs on the channel. That's crazy. 1,000 new people subscribing to the channel because of that one review. That's wild. So even if there's some people on like subreddit somewhere that are pissed about it and think that I was too mean, like a lot of people saw that and felt that it was fair and also refreshing. And that's been the general feedback, is people felt that it was refreshing that we cut through the hype and that we also tried to justify our points, which was good to hear, because that's what we try to do. Let's see what Asmongold said. This is a quick, another 43-second thing. It popped up automatically, and now I'm just curious.
Okay, so that's... Wow. That's it? Build another one? Wait, I can build storage containers? What the fuck? Are you kidding me? How? Where?
Hi, Sam.
Where do I do that?
He just has garbage everywhere.
Sarah, please.
Shut the fuck
Good
up.
work dealing with those merchants in Freestar Space.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, she's glitching out, too.
I can't... Bro, I literally can't move in my own ship.
They sent thanks. Good
They also do this a lot. They stand in the way.
job.
Good job. That's it?
Yes.
Oh, okay. You're welcome.
Although, you might want to run your reports through a spell check.
Guys, I can't...
How's it going?
Well, that's all.
That's pretty funny. Oh man. And then people are gonna be like, that's not fair, that's mean. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like I don't know what to tell you. We're just doing our thing. The game, like games that are universally acclaimed are like Baldur's Gate 3. They are very well received. Everybody, even people that aren't typically into those types of games, play them and are like, oh, I get it now. And Starfield is a good game, but I just don't think it's a great game. Maybe mods will change that, but I just don't think it's quite on that level. Cassandra, thank you for the 5 for the super sticker as well. Thank you, my friend.
Cassandra M super chatted $5.
Thank you. You can see on Todd Howard's face that he's a car salesman. The thing I just genuinely don't understand about all of this is like, guys, Todd is the one that sold you Fallout 76. He knew how bad it was. There is no denying that. He knew how bad it was, and he stood on stage with a straight face, lied to you, and sold you a broken pile of garbage. And now everybody is like, oh, well, but when he says this thing, he's probably telling the truth, though. Like, at that point, you are in a level of like cognitive dissonance and self-deception that cannot be helped. Like, I can try to slap you out of it and be like, guys, stop being stupid. The hype is blinding you. But for some reason, they're like, no, but he really cares about me. I'm like, no. He is unassuming. He is charming in a lot of ways. Damn sex. I'm kidding. Like, but he is unassuming, and I think that is disarming. People don't think that he would do something to screw you over, but he clearly and demonstrably has. And with Starfield, I think it's a much less like it's not a bad example. Like in the case of Starfield, I think it's a good game. Like I've said a dozen times, I think Starfield's a good game, but it is not a great game, and it's not the game that I think Todd was promising people. And I hope that people, go and collect some clips and throw together like a Krabby Cat video or something showcasing the whole thing, so that we can see kind of how it works and what it's like compared to how we pitched it. But I'm not great at those kinds of videos, but I know that there are some people that are very good at them. So I will patiently wait for those comparisons of like what Todd said about Starfield versus what we actually got. He took my thing.